You know how humanoid robots have always felt like they're just perpetually 5 years away? Really cool, for sure, but not quite ready to be our coworkers. Well, that whole timeline just got a massive jolt forward. So today, we're going to break down NVIDIA's Project GR00, a new foundation model that isn't just upgrading robots. It's basically giving them a brain. Okay, to really get what's happening here, you have to understand this massive shift. We are moving away from the old way of thinking about robots, as these clunky, single-task tools that are just programmed to do one specific thing over and over again. The future, and it's being powered by tech like GR00, is all about creating generalist teammates, robots that can actually adapt, learn, and work right alongside us in really complex and ever-changing spaces. Right, so how do you actually build a robot that can think and adapt like that? Well, you start by giving it a brain, and that is exactly what NVIDIA is doing. So this all kicked off at NVIDIA's big GTC 2025 conference. CEO Jensen Huang gets on stage and unveils Project GR00T, which, by the way, stands for Generalist Robot 00 Technology. And look, this wasn't just another product announcement. No way. This was basically them declaring a whole new era for robotics. So what is Project GR00? At its heart is this idea of a foundational model. And honestly, the best way to think of it is as a flexible starter brain. Instead of every robotics company out there having to build a new AI mind from scratch for every single robot and every single new task, which is crazy expensive and slow, GR00 provides this powerful general-purpose base that they can then customize and build on. It's a massive head start. So what can this starter brain actually do? It really comes down to three kind of mind-blowing abilities. First, it understands natural language. You can literally just tell it what to do in plain English. Second, it learns through observation. It can watch a person do something and then imitate that action. And third, and this is the real magic, it can generalize that learning. It can take what it learned and apply it to totally new situations it has never, ever seen before.
Okay, but managing all of that complexity in the real world in real time, that requires a really clever architecture. And this one is actually inspired by a pretty famous concept from cognitive science. I mean, think about it. This is the fundamental challenge, right? How can a machine reason through a high-level command like, go get me a drink, while at the exact same time managing the thousands of tiny little adjustments it needs to make to walk, keep its balance, and not bump into things? The solution is this amazing dual-system architecture. And if you've ever read Daniel Kahneman's book, Thinking Fast and Slow, this is going to sound really familiar. You've got System 2, that's the slow, deliberate planner. It takes a command like, bring me a glass of water, and breaks it down into logical steps. But at the same time, you've got System 1. That's the fast reactive part, the gut instinct that handles all the reflexes and motor control needed to pull those steps off smoothly and safely.
So, you've got this incredible brain. That's great, but how do you teach it? I mean, it's not like you can send a multi-million-dollar prototype to school, right? This is where things get a little bit like the Matrix. We're talking about training them in a virtual world. The problem with real-world training is kind of obvious when you stop and think about it. It is incredibly slow, it costs an absolute fortune in hardware and time, and frankly, it can be pretty dangerous. You really don't want your brand new robot learning how to handle fragile objects by, breaking them over and over again. NVIDIA's solution to this is the Omniverse, and you can basically think of it as the super realistic virtual world that acts as a robot training playground. Inside the simulation, a robot powered by GR0 can experience and learn from millions of different scenarios in just a fraction of the time it would take in reality, all without ever risking a single scratch on the actual physical hardware. And the benefits of doing it this way are absolutely massive. The learning is just exponentially faster. It's completely safe, of course. You can throw all sorts of curveballs at the AI, slippery floors, unexpected obstacles, bad lighting, to make it way more robust. And crucially, it makes this tech accessible. Startups that don't have giant, expensive labs can now train world-class robots.
Now, because you can train these robots so quickly and so safely, this technology is not stuck in a lab. Not at all. It is already being adopted by the biggest names in the game.
And seriously, just look at this list. We are talking about the absolute heavy hitters here. Figure AI, the legends over at Boston Dynamics, 1X Technologies, Agility Robotics, Apptronics, Sanctuary AI, the whole crew. All of these leading-edge companies are building their next-gen humanoids with GR00T as the cognitive backbone. And that list of partners tells you everything you need to know. This is not some far-off research project. GR00T is on a fast track to becoming the standard operating system for humanoid robots, kind of like what Windows is for PCs or Android is for phones.
So where are we going to see these new teammates first? Well, the initial rollout is focused on 3 key areas. Manufacturing and logistics are the obvious starting points. Think about warehouses and assembly lines where robots can handle complex tasks that aren't just simple repetition. But you know what's also a major focus? Healthcare, where robots could start assisting with things like fetching supplies and just generally supporting staff.
Okay, so to really wrap your head around the whole picture, you have to get that GR00, the brain, is just one piece of a much larger puzzle. It's just part of a complete platform that Nvidia has been building. I mean, every brain needs a powerful nervous system to run on, right? And for GR0T, that's a new piece of hardware called Jensen Huang. It's essentially a supercomputer on a chip, designed specifically to fit inside a robot and run these incredibly complex AI models efficiently. See, Nvidia built the full shebang, from the brain to the nervous system. And all of this leads us to a massive, fundamental shift in how we need to think about robotics. For the first time, the defining feature of a robot isn't its physical hardware, how strong its arms are or how fast it can walk. The real game changer now is its mind, its software, its ability to learn, to adapt, and to generalize to the messy world all around it. So I'll just leave you with this thought from NVIDIA's CTO, Jensen Huang. With a general-purpose brain, a virtual training ground, and an entire ecosystem of the best builders all pushing in the same direction, the question really isn't if humanoid robots will arrive. The question is just how fast. And from the looks of it, it's going to be a whole lot faster than any of us expected.